All right, Amazon just dropped their Q4 numbers, and if you're an investor, you know it's never just about the big figures on the page. It's about the story, right? And this quarter story is a big one. We're talking accelerating cloud growth, massive bets on AI, and a retail business that's somehow getting even faster. So let's kick things off with those jaw-dropping numbers.
So first up, the big one. The top-line revenue, $213.4 billion. Just for the quarter. I mean, let that sink in for a second. It's a number that's almost hard to comprehend, and it really just hammers home the insane scale Amazon is operating at globally.
And then there's this, $25 billion in operating income. Now that's the number that really makes investors sit up and take notice. Why? Because it's not just growth, it's profitable growth. And that, right there, is the magic combination the market loves to see. It really sets the tone for everything else we're about to unpack.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We'll quickly touch on the headline numbers again, then dive deep into AWS, the real engine of this company. After that, we'll get into their huge AI bet, check on the core retail and ads business, and finally, look at what's next and the risks that come with it. Let's get to it.
So let's put some context around those big numbers. That $213 billion in revenue, that's a solid 12% jump year over year. But here's the really impressive part. The $25 billion in operating income, they hit that number even after taking a $2.4 billion hit from special charges. Things like tax disputes and severance costs. That just shows you how incredibly strong the core business performance really was.
All right, let's talk about AWS. For any Amazon investor, this isn't just another division. It's the profit engine. It's the whole shebang. And look, there was some real concern in the market for a while about its growth slowing down. But this quarter, well, that engine is absolutely roaring back to life.
And here's the headline you need to know about AWS. The growth didn't just stabilize, it re-accelerated to 24%. That's its best performance in 13 quarters over 3 years. For a business of this scale, that is just a massive, powerful signal that companies are done optimizing costs and are back to spending big on the cloud. This really puts it in perspective. See that jump? That 24% growth is wild when you remember the scale we're talking about. AWS is now a $142 billion a year business. Trying to grow that fast on a base that huge, it's like trying to make an aircraft carrier do a speedboat turn. It's just incredibly impressive.
And this is the crucial point, something CEO Andy Jassy really hammered home on the call. He said, look, yeah, some competitors might show a higher percentage growth rate, but they're starting from a much smaller base. When you look at the actual dollars coming in, Amazon's 24% growth on a $142 billion run rate means they're adding more cash to the pile than anyone else. It's not even close.
So, the big question is, what's behind this incredible acceleration at AWS? Well, a huge piece of that puzzle is what we're talking about next, Amazon's massive bet on AI. This isn't your old-school cloud computing anymore. This is a business being absolutely supercharged by a multi-billion-dollar push into artificial intelligence.
Okay, so at the very core of this strategy are two names you've got to know, Graviton and Trainium. These are Amazon's own in-house, custom-designed silicon chips. The way to think about it is simple. Graviton is your all-purpose workhorse for everyday computing. But Trainium, that's the high-performance race car, built from the ground up specifically for AI. And the secret sauce for both? They give customers way better performance for a much lower price.
And get this whole custom chip thing isn't some tiny little side project. It's already a business doing over $10 billion a year in revenue. That is a massive, fast-growing company just hiding in plain sight inside AWS. It's a huge deal.
And this is why customers are flocking to it. The bottom line is simple. With their latest Trainium 2 chip, you're getting 30 to 40% better price performance. So you get more power for less money compared to traditional GPUs. I mean, if you're a company spending millions or even billions on training AI models, that's not just an advantage, that's a total game changer.
But it's not just about the hardware. Having fast chips is great, but Amazon's real play here is building the entire AI stack for businesses. It starts with a service called Bedrock, where you can pick and choose from all the top AI models. Then you've got SageMaker to tweak and fine-tune those models. And here's the real hook for big enterprise customers, a new service called Nova Forge. This lets companies train models on their own secret proprietary data all securely. It's a top-to-bottom solution designed to make AWS completely indispensable.
Okay. Let's shift gears, because as exciting as AWS and AI are, we can't forget about the foundation of the entire Amazon empire, the stores, the ads, and that relentless focus on speed. This is the core business, and believe me, it is still an absolute innovation machine firing on all cylinders.
You know, it's so easy to think of Amazon as just one giant store, but that's not really accurate. It's more like a massive digital mall. And the small businesses in that mall, the third-party sellers, are more important than ever. They now make up a record 61% of everything sold on the platform. It's that ecosystem that creates the endless selection and competitive pricing we all know. And that machine is just getting faster and faster. Get this, over 8 billion items delivered to Prime members in the US either the same day or the next day. That's a 30% increase from last year. And at the same time, that incredibly profitable advertising business is just exploding, up 22%, hitting $21.3 billion for the quarter. All signs point to a core business that is just incredibly healthy.
All right, last section. Let's look to the future, because no analysis is complete without looking at the big, audacious bets on the horizon, and just as importantly, the real risks and costs that the company is telling us about right now.
And one of Amazon's biggest future bets is quite literally out of this world. They are going all in on building their own network of low Earth orbit satellites. The mission is huge: deliver high-speed internet to every corner of the globe. They've already got 180 satellites up there, with a commercial rollout slated for 2026. This isn't a small project. It's a massive, decade-long gamble. Of course, big bets like that don't come cheap, and management was very upfront about the costs. They're telling investors to expect a $1 billion jump in costs next quarter alone just from the satellite project. And that's on top of those $2.4 billion in special charges we talked about earlier. So if you're an investor, these are some serious numbers you have to bake into your expectations. And really, that leaves us with the billion-dollar question, doesn't it? Amazon is spending mountains of cash on AI and satellites. So from an investor standpoint, it all boils down to this. Are we watching them build the next AWS, another revolutionary high-margin business? Or are these massive bets going to be a drag on profits for the foreseeable future? The answer to that question is going to define the next chapter for Amazon.